everyone, my name is Jeffrey and welcome back to episode 42 of my Satisfactory Let's Play series. In this video we're taking another stab at adding some cool cosmetics to our new factory. Lots of glass and coated concrete give this a really neat airplane hangar feel. A few lights to brighten up the place and a handful of elevators to make getting around easier. And I can definitely say this is absolutely the cleanest factory I've ever made. Thank you for all the support and help with the series so far. Let's get to playing games. Alright, who's ready for decoration day? It's finally time to put the outer shell onto this old nuclear pasta factory. Now that it's up and running, we've got tier 9 unlocked, we've got a lot of projects ahead of us, but we're going to take a quick little break today to make this old factory look pretty cool. So we're going to head on over to the red sand desert and get things started. I'm going to try and do my best to make things look as cool as they can. Is it going to work in the end? Well, who knows? But we're gonna try anyway, and I hope you guys enjoy the episode. And after this, it's time to do some bigger projects, starting with probably unlocking the Mark 6 conveyor belts and making use of those with the time crystals and the trigons, I think they were called. So we got a couple little projects to get started just to get those unlocked, running, and then we'll be turning that into a much bigger project, especially since there's a few recipes that you can use to make. I think it's the fixite trigons. The time crystals are basically just made from diamonds, and that takes a whole lot of coal. But anyway, thank you guys again for those who are supporting the channel on the Patreon or the YouTube channel membership. If you want to join the wall of awesome people, you know how to do it. Go on over to the Patreon or the YouTube channel membership page. Both are in the description, and I will meet you guys now on over at the Red Sand Factory. Alright, well, I suppose the first thing we should do to get this kicked off is we should probably put some kind of shell around the, or frame around the outside, so we can kind of start filling in at least maybe some glass walls around it. So I think what I'll do, I guess we also gotta do like some support pillars everywhere too, so I need to make sure I can at least get high enough to go over top of the refinery. I mean, I think the refineries and the particle accelerators are probably roughly about the same height. You include the stack on top of the refineries. So let's grab some 4-meter foundations here, and we'll start stacking them up a little bit in vertical. And we're also going to go up on an angle, so I don't need to go up too high, but I think maybe 5 high. And then we'll start doing an angle up from here. We'll see if that'll work. So we'll grab the double ramp, and I think 8 meters will work here. Let's put one there for now. Actually, I should put it in zoom mode. There we go. My mouse decided to give up like partway through trying to put that down. So if I zoom that up by 10, it looks like even going all the way down along, we'll still be able to clear on those sides. We'll do the same on the others. So that was what, 5 up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 10 across. Let's do that from the other side. And then we're just going to do a flat portion going across the front like this. I don't know how high up I can actually go here. We're just going to zoom that across, and then we're going to go down the other side, and then hopefully we'll make some nice, cool, like clean angles across here. There we go. It's a decent start. So should be about even on either side, and I think that should work for now. And then I think what I'll do is I'll try and put one down on the other side, and then I'll try and calculate out roughly how many. I'll try and space it out in between, and then I also made this quick little blueprint. Should be in here somewhere. 5 high glass wall, there it is. So it's just a bunch of glass stuck together so that I can actually just put this down a lot easier. So we can just go like this, plunk it down, I think right there. It's lined up on the platforms. And then if I switch it to blueprint mode, should be able to snap it just to the side of this wall here. And then should be a much faster way of filling in all the glass that I actually need to put in here, but I actually ended up making it too tall. So it looks like I need to make this, I think it's 4 high, right? No, it's 5 high. How many did I actually make this tall? Oh, it's actually 7 tall. Oopsie. Okay, there we go. Crisis averted, and it's all fixed. So now I should be able to just pop these down a lot easier. And then I just have to figure out how many I'm going to be putting down. So obviously I can at least put down a double section of this next to each other. I can actually get it to sit in probably not, but that's okay. So there we go, get 2 of those sitting in next to each other, and then we're probably going to end up doing some concrete, but let me just do a quick little calculate out of how this is going to end up looking. And I'll skip ahead to having a bunch of these kind of just wrapped up all the way down along here. Alright, it may have taken me an entire day to do it, but I got a good frame out going, I think. So we've got all the archways. I ended up swapping it from 3 to 4 because it just ended up matching up with the walkways a lot nicer. Then we put in the glass walls going down through the side. The only place it's not really exactly even is when you go into the back section. I think it's a little bit longer than these sections are here. And then I put in some just some sunken in walls in behind here. So if you remember, I also will probably end up coming back here to do more work underneath this factory because there are so many free nodes here that we can use, especially with the coal. Probably end up turning that into some diamonds at some point and shipping those out of here. It'll actually be kind of easy to just kind of train coming in through the bottom, pick up a bunch of stuff, take it elsewhere, and we'll use it from there. And then I ended up putting in some signs just underneath to give a little bit of a glow and a contrast with some inverter ramps underneath the bottom here. So I think it looks pretty good so far. But now I'm just going to, I think, fill in all the glass going through here. And I did want to keep it like pretty much like all the way open, so you just get a lot of like natural light coming in. So I was going to use the roofs. So if we go to 4-meter roof here, just so it matches up with the ramp section, and then I'll just have to shift it into place, just kind of like that. And we'll just run this all the way along. We'll switch this to a glass roof, and then I'm going to do that all the way up and across, and then all the way down. Then we'll just do the flat pieces across the top, and then this should be fully encased. And then we can start working on the inside. We'll add in some lights, elevators, and all sorts of other fun stuff. All right, like 2 hours later, even using blueprints, we've got ourselves a shell. It's definitely loading in, like rendering a little weird, just because I think of my low graphic settings. But that is glass all the way around with our little pillars going kind of every so often where the walkways are. And I think that'll kind of work out because then you can kind of put on maybe some lights coming from down up there, because I mean it will get a little dark in here at nighttime, especially if you do end up having global illumination on. I think this looks really cool though. I'm definitely liking the way this factory's coming together. It's super clean, especially for a factory that still has basically all the items still up on this floor. I mean, obviously we're bringing in the stuff from elsewhere. It didn't just appear here. So that we did hide the slight messy part, but everything else has been super clean. I really like looking through this factory. Maybe at some point I'll do like a slow, just like some highlight clips where I'll turn up the settings really like all the way. And I'll just kind of stand still, and that way I don't have to worry about it lagging too much. And maybe we'll actually be able to get a good glimpse of what this factory really looks like in the end. But now that we're on the inside, and we do have most of the, I went ahead and I did all these just kind of as we were going along, the modern railings all the way along, everybody. So at some point I'm going to have to figure out a little entranceway for everybody. And then I was thinking of maybe adding in some walkway. I don't necessarily think I need the walkways for here near where the refineries are. The other place I was considering putting one was maybe that comes down through the middle here, but I mean even still, just because I've kind of already left most things raised up a lot, this is kind of just a nice little walk-through area that you can kind of come in, make sure everything's running pretty well. As you can see, the copper ingots are just kind of flying down through here, and kind of come back into it here. I think what I really like about this build is it kind of reminds me of like an airplane hangar. I think it looks really cool, especially like the size ratio with the factory build inside. I think everything worked out pretty well. So you got our many refinery sections that are all surrounded by our awesome modern railings. Everyone's got, as far as I can tell, seems like plenty of room to move around for any sort of like monitoring and maintenance you may have to do. So I'm not going to worry too much about the walkways, like I said, on the refineries, but I think maybe we'll add them in over here where the constructors are, just so you can kind of get around in through here a little bit easier. It does get a little bit tight as you're passing through this area. And then over by the particle accelerators, I may end up doing the same thing where there's like just a walkway that kind of takes you down the middle here. Man, it's loud. It's pretty loud in this section here. I might do a walkway that just kind of takes you down in between them. But honestly, this one's kind of similar where a lot of things are kind of up and out of the way, and you have a lot of space to move around. So there is ways you can kind of come and check in on things. And the particle accelerators are so loud. Let me get out of here so we can kind of continue on doing this a little bit quieter. Man, those are just some loud factory machines, I'll tell you what. So I think for this one, in terms of some lights that I kind of want to add, instead of just doing all just big billboard signs on all the little sections here, which I think really wouldn't add enough lighting when it came down to it anyway. What I think would actually potentially be a better idea is if we can maybe add some of the actual, like the real lights in. So if I go to, is it organization? And we can use some of the basically ceiling lights. And if we want, I wish you could use the wall mounted floodlights. Like if you could just like connect them to the ceiling and then like be like angled in a certain direction. I think that's definitely one thing I hope for in the future is like an angled ceiling light, if that makes any sense. Obviously just more of a decoration thing, but I feel like having more lighting options than just using the signs and stuff, especially for those that can't really play with global illumination on, would definitely be a lot better. So if you do want to use these, the way around it is you can just kind of get our walls here. We'll grab our walls, we'll just bring them down, put it into hopefully I can actually bring them down here. Are you actually going to work for me? Hello? Let's take this roof out for a second. Yeah, I just really can't think of a good way I would actually put these on here. I mean, I may put some over here on the walls down here, just give us some more light down there, but maybe I will just end up using the billboards up here just because I can't really figure out what would be a good way of actually putting in lighting. Like I said, I mean, obviously you could put in the that's street lights. You could put in the ceiling lights here, but honestly, I don't think they really fit in that well, all that much with the build, especially the size of them. So I think I'll just end up using large billboards as some lights going across here, and then maybe we'll do the wall-mounted floodlights here. Oh, just fell out of the sky. I like to have them like kind of hugging up, like pretty snug with the ceiling here. So we'll lock that into position there. That's right in the middle. Let's make sure you still have enough room here. Wait, why can't I nudge this? Oh, there we go. The vertical nudge is the nudge. There we go. So we basically just have two lights like that, and then we'll just hook them up to each other, and then we'll hook them up to some power. I'll just kind of figure out where I actually want to hook those up to, just so that we don't have cables hanging out all over the place. But I think that'll kind of work out, and actually works out nicely that we're about to lose light here. So let's throw some billboards up here on top. Figure out which one I want to have them face. I don't know if I want to have them facing this way, going across like this, or a straight line like that. I feel like it would probably make more sense to have them like this. And then I can start on like that one. And then we'll just go like every other. Let's put one over here and then we'll figure out how many we can go like. We'll split it up evenly to go every other one. Actually here, first let me change one so that we can actually just have them all going the same. Let's load my iron factory lights. That's a pretty good one. It's a little blue, but not too blue. Oh, God, I forgot to actually change the emission. There we go. Okay, so let's say we put one of those every 3. I did 1, 2, 3. Does that put it in between 4 here? Okay, so if this went there, and that one went there, that should be exactly even, right? So you have 3. Oh, that's 3.5 now. At least that's a lot more even. I think I'll go with it like that. Then we'll just take this one off of here. Paste that onto this one. And there we go. Yeah, that works out pretty even. So we'll put those on all the upper sections here. And then we'll get these lights turned on down here. Maybe we'll end up angling them up a little bit just to get a little bit more light outwards. But I do kind of like how it matches the angle of the wall right now. Okay. I mean, it doesn't add anything too crazy in terms of light, but I mean, it adds like a little bit more accent light into the build here. Just kind of lights up your little hallways you're going along here. It's definitely a lot harder to light giant builds like this up, especially because the light technically doesn't really spread a whole lot in this game. But let me turn on global illumination and let me see if these are actually lighting things up very much. I'm actually going to turn these from the blue to, I'm actually going to make them the white, just to match that one so it's not like white and blue. Okay, so they do actually provide a decent amount of light from up there, which is actually, it's pretty good. And I mean, I can always add in some more, so I have global illumination on right now, obviously. I can always add in some more lights as well. And then I'm sure as we add in a few more, like going through here as well, things are going to brighten up a lot. Yeah, so making those the same white was, I think, a good idea because they definitely match a lot more now. It's a little weird that they're different sizes, I think, but I mean, it still looks pretty good. So I'm going to do that on all of the pillars going down. And that'll be all the lights in the factory, and I think this looks pretty good. I think there's still probably, like, the way I end up decorating is I decorate everything, and then I'm like, as I'm editing, I'm like, oh, that would have been cool to put in there. So yeah, if there's anything cool that as I'm filling these in, and you're like, hey, that would look pretty cool in this factory, make sure you leave a little comment in the section, or wow, leave a little comment down below, and I'll revisit this factory maybe in a couple episodes. We can add a couple more decorations to it. It's definitely a cool looking factory, and we definitely have to come back here anyway to overhaul all the belts to Mark 6 once those are unlocked. So, like I said, if you got any cool ideas for things I can add into the factory here, maybe some like signage for directional, you know, directing you around the factory. We could add in maybe just some little carts driving around just for some extra little life, like feels like things are more alive in here. And then I'll probably add in some more elevators. Well, actually definitely need some elevators because we need to have elevators that take us from this floor to the floor beneath us that has our hand-fed system for the pressure conversion cubes. And then we're also going to want to have easy access down there, because if that's where all the ores are that we're going to be pumping out of there, we're going to want to have an elevator that takes us down. So I'll probably, since I ended up doing these walls so thick, we could actually just kind of put an elevator somewhere. I don't know if I want to put it in here, because it wouldn't really necessarily fit in as a 4. But we could always put one in on the back side here over by the particle accelerators. And then what I could also do is I could also put one in, like, it doesn't even have to be like on the back walls here. Since we have so much extra space kind of around the particle accelerators, I could always just add in the elevator like that, just straight up just goes like through the floor here down to the section down below if we wanted to do it that way. That way it's probably a little bit easier for moving around and things will be a little bit more condensed. All right, looking pretty good. Yeah, I like the spacing of those lights. It basically looks like they're perfectly even though realistically they're not. They're off by like going here to here is like a little bit off, but it looks really nice actually. Especially when the sun's coming up. It's a pretty cool looking factory we got here. So I think now, as we can move on to, like I was saying, putting in the elevators in, we got a good amount of lighting in here, and maybe room for a few more here and there, depending on where we want to put things. I think another thing I've now started to enjoy doing is I like using the floodlight towers, but a lot of times I'll actually, especially if I'm not worried about what's on the floor underneath, I can always do this, and I actually really like the way this just makes the base take up a lot less space. And it makes them a little bit shorter too, which is kind of handy. So I may end up maybe throwing those in and around in a couple spots just because I end up kind of liking doing that around my main base. We'll see like how much it really has to clip to the floor to actually make them fit in. But especially like vertical nudging, I think is, especially as we get used to it, it's really going to open up the door for a lot more like cool like decoration ideas and fitting things in and using pieces that you probably never even really considered using before. But now you're going to, because you can either hide something or you can clip it into something else, or, you know, just make it look a whole lot different than it really used to. And I'm kind of excited about having all these opportunities, but it also means I need to get learning. So for the elevator, I'm actually going to go, I think, through this floor right here. You see there's nothing below me right now, but that's because the floor is actually right there. And I thought about going maybe down the other side, so we come back up through the top here. We could maybe go down to the other side because there is a decent amount of space on this side as well. And we could maybe even just do 2 elevators. I mean, I don't see why you couldn't do 2. And you just take a little chunk out of the floor here, go down through this section. And I mean, I guess I just have to cut a little hole into the side of this because this is technically all blocked off right now. But yeah, that was the general idea, was that it would kind of fit in with the rest of the factory and I wouldn't actually have to lose like my cool clean pathways. Obviously I haven't done a back part or a front part on this factory yet. I still can't really decide what I want to do, if I want to just do it all glass, if I actually want to do it all concrete, do like a little mix, or what I'm really going to do for closing this in. I'll kind of figure that out, I think, over time. That tends to happen with some of my design ideas, and I'm just like, oh, this seems cool, and then, you know, I either don't follow through with it entirely, or I get started on something and I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not feeling as creative as I thought. But either way, here, let's get our transport set down here. Our personnel elevator, it's going to start right here. I believe you can nudge it, and I'm also going to turn it. I think that's a fine entrance if it's facing this way. So we'll nudge it into position now. Start right there. And then let me actually phase through it here for a second, so I can come down here. I guess I probably should have dragged the floor out because I actually don't know where this is going to go. So let's drag this over first, so I know where the elevator has to come to. There we go. Okay, so elevator. I'll do that same thing again. Personnel elevator. Oops. Okay, there we go. So now we just want to turn this part here, the bottom, so it faces outwards. And then now I just need to hook that up to power. Let's grab that here. Let's drag it up and bring it over. Should be a power line here on the ceiling somewhere. I have to go to the outside. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I'll hop in here. Go to the second floor. Just make sure it all works. Oh, nope. Something is not right. Uh-oh. How do I get out? I'm trapped in my elevator. So what happened there? I have not seen that happen before. So let me try that again. Let me just try putting it from the bottom here then. Okay, let's try that again, shall we? Hopefully this is actually going to work this time and not just shoot me through the floor. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I guess maybe you have to start from the bottom up, because hooey just shoved me back through the floor there. Okay, so now those are set up. I think that'll kind of work, actually. That's not too out of the ordinary to have that there. I feel like I can maybe add something in around it, just to kind of make it stand out a little bit. Let me try a couple things. Well, it's been 45 minutes, and this is the best I could come up with. I did try a few different things using like some ramps, some pillars, some beams, all sorts of stuff. I didn't like any of it. I'm not even 100% sure I like this, but I think it turned out pretty cool. So I used some of the frame ramps just coming out off the side. Just doing that alone, I think, made a really big difference in making it look like the elevator kind of fit in. It wasn't just sticking through the floor. And then I went ahead and I threw a little crafting bench on the back just for a little something extra. We got a little doggo of the month sign on here just for something out, little funsies. We got a little hazard storage box, and then you also have a goo pad here for a landing. That's, I think, one of the parts of this I'm not sure I like about it, but I think because I think the way it looks like it's sort of attached to the elevator, it almost looks maybe like it's like the elevator part of the machinery, kind of, almost, in a way. I don't know. I thought it looked kind of cool. Again, if you have any more ideas for me to implement into this factory, you are more than welcome to leave in the comment section down below. But I mean, I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it at all. So basically, you can come in here, pop yourself in. Where is... Oh, here we go. Let me actually edit the floor info. So floor number 1 that we are on right now, I believe, right, is main factory. All right, there we go. We got floor number 1, which is main factory, which... Wait. Oh, did I get these wrong? I got these wrong. Yeah, I got these wrong. So the green one is supposed to be main factory on this one, and then the miners and P cubes, which is going to take me back upstairs. Yeah. So it's supposed to be the opposite way of it, what it currently is. That looks pretty cool, actually, come up to that. So yeah, we're going to come up through here, and there we go. That takes you to the main factory, and then this takes you down to the miners, and what we're also probably going to be adding down below. So now I just got to switch that around. It's kind of funny. So we'll switch those around, and then we can come down here, and then we can kind of fill in the last little bit going through here. We'll put up the last little bit of the walls, and we'll put in some lights. I think it's going to look pretty good. It's going to be definitely a bit more open down here. Like, I'm not going to put in like all the coated concrete and like a whole bunch of decorations and stuff down here just yet, because I don't actually know, haven't fully decided if I'm actually going to put in more machines down here, or if it's purely just going to be train comes in, sucks up ore, takes it somewhere else. Basically space balls the ore out of here. You know, going from suck to blow. So either way, I think we'll just kind of put these walls in, and then we'll throw some lights up just so it's not insanely dark down here at nighttime, or actually in general, because I'm pretty sure if I put up all the walls here, and if I was to turn on global illumination, you're going to be in a very black room. There we go. That's not too bad down here. So we got everything walled in now. We got some lights up. I'll put a few more up, but I'm just going to kind of figure out where they're going to go. I may have to move some of these pipes and belts. Not obviously their inputs, but like I can just kind of shift them around a little bit if I need to put a light in somewhere. And then I also added in another elevator right over here that you have to call because it's currently down on the bottom floor. So this will also take you down to the other miner here. That's all on the outside. So technically now you have an elevator that'll also take you all the way down to the miners, because technically that one upstairs doesn't. This would theoretically be the actual miner floor itself. But I mean, there is technically a couple of miners. So there is another elevator over here. You come up from here, we'll go up a floor. Hello? There we go. So we'll come up a floor here, back into where I just was. And if you come through this section, which definitely needs some more lights because it gets a little dark back here. I do have global illumination on just so you can actually see how dark it is back in here. We do have a little bit of light coming in because I still have some open sections. But there is the other elevator here, which will also take you down to the other miner that's down here. And then that's also going to take you down to, I believe, the coal... Oh, the bonk noise. Yeah, there are the coal nodes right there, so we're going to need access to those as well. So it's good to have some of these other elevators around and ready to go. But I think that will probably bring me to the end of this episode for now. Just a fun little decoration one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, if you have any cool ideas of things I can add into this factory, let me know down below. And I will see you guys in the next one for getting started on those diamonds and trigons.